I need some rare materials. Ditto! Oh, really? You too? What do you need? Ditto! Oh, sorry, I forgot who you were for a moment. Ditto? Huh, actually, now that you mention it... Ladies, gentlemen, and trainers of all ages, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been out for a few weeks now, and while an unbelievable amount of people have been playing this game for countless hours already, it is always possible that you've missed something. This game is massive, and there are lots of things to do within it, so what is going on that you may have missed on your journey to become the Pokemon champion? Today I'm going to talk about 7 things you probably didn't know in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which realistically is just a fun way of framing tips, tricks, and just interesting information you may not be aware of. First up then, let's talk about a smaller detail, but a neat one for sure. When Pokemon are put to sleep within battle in Scarlet and Violet, they will actually close their eyes and look properly like they are asleep. The interesting thing about this though is that that wasn't the case in the base game or for the Day 1 patch either, and was actually only added in 1.1.0, which came out recently. So for whatever reason, the devs thought it was a big priority to make it so Pokemon would close their eyes while asleep, an even bigger priority than fixing some of the more broken parts of the game for the first patch. Just saying. After that, let's talk a little bit about Area Zero, the part of the map that you don't unlock until the very tail end of the story. It's where the Paradox Pokemon are, and it's a really neat environment too. If you tried playing most of this game in multiplayer, you'll find that your friends can generally just walk around the world with you, but for whatever reason, this simply doesn't apply to Area Zero. Whether this was intentional or a glitch, I don't know, but, well, you can actually make it happen anyways. You can force it to let you walk around with your friends, even there. To accomplish this, simply head to Area Zero with your friends, coordinate a spot to stand in the same general spot, like under a tree or something. I recommend going near a research station just to make it easy in the first place, and then while standing on top of each other on the exact same spot, one of you get a wild Pokemon to begin an encounter with you and walk back to the spot, and then you should see the people spawn around you. Ta-da! Now you don't have to be alone in the coolest area of the entire game. Sure, this doesn't have a whole lot of greater game impact, but it is definitely just more fun to be able to do this area in multiplayer as well. The interesting thing is that even without your friends being visible though, their Pokemon spawns will still happen around you if you're walking near each other in this area, which is how you can catch Paradox Pokemon from other versions without trading. This is just a neat little bonus to let you spend a little more time with your buddies.
Friends are great.
This next one comes from user Ask Me for Trivia on Reddit, and it is quite the useful little trick. Have you ever been trying to make a TM, saw the materials it required, and then let out an audible groan, knowing that it requires something that's sorta hard to find? Let's say that you want to make Aura Sphere, which requires bits of Charcadet. Now, you can find Charcadet in the wild. They are a bit of a rare spawn, but they're out there. You can even eat food for Fire Encounter buff to make them more likely to show up. But what if I told you there was an even more efficient method than that one that is nearly downright easy? The answer, of course, is Ditto. You can find them around the place, most commonly near Port Marinata in the west, and you'll know if a wild Pokemon is a Ditto by pressing the ZL button to show the Pokemon's names. And even a Ditto transformed into another Pokemon will say Ditto above its head. The next step is the lucrative one here though. Let's say that you need that Charcadet Soot. Simply put the first Pokemon in your party to be your Armaroos or Ceruledge as an evolved member of that family, and you can't find them in the wild, so you can't actually get this many materials from just encountering wild Pokemon. So walk up to the Ditto, and then for its first move it will transform into your Pokemon. This actually results in fully swapping the rewards that you get when you defeat it. It will not drop Ditto materials, instead it will drop the material for whatever Pokemon you made it transform into. And so if you turn the Ditto into a Ceruledge, it will give you a nice big pile of Charcadet Soot. This of course works for any Pokemon that you make a Ditto transform into, and so it can actually be a really nice way of getting the rare materials you might need, and all in the same location. Next up, we have a sort of quality of life tip. When getting to the later stages of Pokemon, held items start to become a very important thing. Having your Pokemon hold the right item can be the difference between life or death, or between victory or failure, I suppose. However, what happens when you want to take an item from one Pokemon and give it to a different one? Well, the obvious answer is to press A on the Pokemon with the item, tell them to put their item away, then go to the other Pokemon, press A, tell them to put the item away, and then pick up the new item from your box from the same menu. This is a whole process, and it takes a good 20-30 seconds to do it normally, which obviously isn't a massive amount of time in one go, but if you have to do that every single time you want to swap items between your Pokemon, it definitely adds up. And we all just have a limited amount of time on this earth, so who wants to spend any more than necessary on switching which of your Pokemon is holding which item? Well, thankfully there's actually a shortcut to do this. The game will never tell you about it, the prompt doesn't show up on the screen, you have to work it out entirely on your own, but this process is super simple and extremely quick. Just open your menu, hover over one of your Pokemon, and press your left trigger, the ZL button.
I just pressed this button.
This will enter an item swap mode, and all you have to do is select your Pokemon that you want to move items between. This may save you tons of time over your course of your your journey, and the fact that this function isn't made obvious, it isn't shown on the screen that you can press this button to make it happen, it's just honestly baffling to me. This game just has so much hidden functionality. It works, it has so many little things that are actually quite helpful, so many things to make your life easier that they don't seem to want you to know without getting lucky and figuring it out. Then we have a method of getting specific shiny Pokemon, a way to get the specific Pokemon that you want a shiny of to show up as a shiny. This one is quite simply based around outbreaks. If you spent any time hunting shinies, you'll understand what the outbreaks are good for this. Not only do they guaranteed spawn a bunch of these specific Pokemon that they are for, they also give you increased significantly odds of spawning a shiny once you have defeated 60 of the outbreak Pokemon in the area. However, what you may not have known is that you can actually force specific outbreaks to spawn. Different Pokemon have different chances of showing up in outbreaks, some are quite common and some are just impossibly rare. However, no matter what it is, you can give it a higher chance of spawning forcibly. The method for this is actually surprisingly simple. All you have to do is check the Pokedex for that specific Pokemon, see where it shows up, and then go where the yellow box is on the map. For Citadel, for example, it is just most of the spaces on the Ice Mountain, so go stand on the Ice Mountain. If you aren't doing this, this is one of the rarest encounters to actually show up as an outbreak within the game. It's just a really incredibly, unbelievably low chance. However, when you do an outbreak reset when standing here by moving the time of day forward on your Switch, it will re-roll your outbreaks. When you do that, it has a significantly higher chance to spawn an outbreak for any of the Pokemon that exist in the area that you're standing. And so this is how you game the system a little bit. Of course, it isn't perfect. You won't really get your preferred outbreak in 1 or 2 resets maybe, but it turns one that is nearly impossible to show up into one that you can force pretty actively and relatively easily. After this, we have a set of interesting moves, fun TMs. If you head over to the Watchtower in the East Province Area 1, and then travel over to this island here to the east of that, or southeast of Levincia if you just want to go from there, then at each of the 3 corners of this island under a tree you will find a TM, and these TMs actually work together in a pretty fun way. In one corner of the island you will find Water Pledge, in another corner you'll find Grass Pledge, and then under the final tree you will find Fire Pledge. The way that these moves work are specifically special for doubles battles, as if you use 2 of these moves on the same turn, as in Water Pledge and Grass Pledge, or Grass Pledge and Fire Pledge, really just any combination of the moves, it will instead cancel one of the moves that you use the other one at 150 power instead of 80, and also have a secondary effect. That makes these neat moves, and this is the easy way to get them within Scarlet and Violet. Then finally is from the Blazer Dragon, who mentions that for whatever reason, if you catch a Pokemon in Tera Raids, they will actually come out dirty. If you look at them closely, they will have dirt just all over them. It's just a way to show that they've been battling and sitting in this crystal for ages. It's just how they spawn when you catch them this way. They will actually stay this way until you actively clean them at a picnic, and it's just a nice tiny little detail that's a bit interesting. It doesn't really have any actual effect on the greater game as a whole, but it's just a small little attention to detail that they've put in. And that's all for today, everyone. 7 tips, tricks, or just neat little details about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that you may not have already known about. There are so many hidden or rare interactions in this game, and so much left to be discovered even still. Of course, as usual, let us know down in the comments if you know of anything that would be fitting for this type of thing, and I hope I managed to tell you at least a few things that are new information for you today. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.